Why don't we start with Syed, you introducing yourself to the larger group here? Something about you, your profile, your work ex, and everything.
Sure. So, hi everyone. Good evening. My name is Syed Abdus Sattar, and so I'm an engineer. I'm an electrical and electronics engineer. I graduated from BITS Pilani in 2018, and I have over 5.5 years of work experience. So, for the first year of my post my graduation, for the first year, I was working in a core electronics company as an electronics design engineer. So I worked over there for over a year, but then I kind of shifted to I wanted to get away from core electronics and wanted to shift to business domain. So after that, I joined a social media company. It's called ShareChat, and I worked over there for over 3.5 years, mainly in strategy and operations. And post that, for the past 1 year, I'm working at my current company, which is Brain Enterprises. It's a B2B service-based company, and I'm currently working as a product manager over there. So it's a very typical kind of profile, like most of the students who apply to all these B schools. So very mainstream kind of profile. So yeah, so this is a brief about my background. Yeah, I'm sure.
So, Syed, one thing I wanted to say, not to you, to the larger group, that, and this was a repetitive pattern in a repetitive point of discussion in during Muneen's and Daksha's call as well today in the morning. People were asking that, what resume spikes you had, what exactly you had in your resume. And they said that they had nothing, right? So there's a big misconception among people that you really need some big spike in your resume to crack it to the top B schools in India. So, uh, as you just mentioned, Sayed, that your profile was pretty mainstream, very run of the mill. So I wanted to ask you, what exactly did you do differently, uh, which includes your GMAT as well? What exactly did you do differently to, beat the competition, according to you?
See, according to me, I think in like very first diagnostic mock that I gave, I did not perform very well with Anshul. I remember that. So this is a kind of a pattern with engineers. They are not very good speakers. But for me personally, I think I planned the things quite well. This is something that I done because I was like uh, basically I kind of uh, planned my applications like at least 3-4 months in advance. I kind of went through all the B schools, the top B schools where I wanted to apply. And I looked at what are the different rounds and what are the different deadlines of different rounds that they had, and what's the procedure for each round. So basically planning in advance. So when it comes to planning, it means like by when I need to get my GMAT score ready, and then for and like because there are different schools one after the other. How do I plan that I get enough time to prepare for each and individual interview and each and individual college separately, because there are different components and the application process is very different in different schools. So kind of planning properly and spacing out the applications so that you get enough time to prepare between all the different colleges. And one more thing, I did go through a lot of different YouTube videos of all the individuals who converted their respective colleges. So I had seen a lot of folks about folks who converted ISB, a lot of folks who converted IIM Ahmedabad. I saw a lot of their interviews. What are just to get the nuances of that particular college, what's different, and how I need to perform and in my interview so that like I could have an advantage over others. Like,
Right. Thank you, Sayed. And I don't, because You started with me from your interview preparation stage. So I would want you to talk about something about application also. How did you build your applications?
Sure. So I have prepared something. I'll just show you.
Sure,
I
sure.
just want to present my screen. That will give everyone better clarity. Okay. So I'll start with all these things. Just,
That's a really interesting thing that you have done.
yeah. So, firstly, I went through all the different colleges, specifically all the different tier one colleges that I wanted to apply for. So, initially, I also did not know about all these colleges. I, I knew about uh, all the Blackie colleges and ISB. I knew of all these seven colleges, but after I joined Anshul's group, I got to know about a few more programs. So all these programs. So IIM Ahmedabad PGPX, ISB PGP, IIM Bangalore EPGP, IIM Calcutta MBAEx. So basically all these different programs, I kind of listed them down first. So I did it till the sixth point. I did not apply to Lucknow, but I was planning to apply in case I didn't get selected in the above colleges. And so basically, first I mentioned all these colleges. Um, so these are some of the tier one colleges that accept applications through GMAT or GRE. Acceleri has a 15 months program, and I think Bitsom is a 2-year program. I have very limited knowledge about Bitsom. I know that BITS is investing a lot, and its
Yeah.
initial placements have been really good, and the college is very promising from what I have known, like from all the Bitsians that I've talked to and my research as well. So these are some of the colleges. What you can do is you can put these colleges in order of your preference. So your I think ISB and IIM Ahmedabad. I think I was preferring these two colleges. And then I'm Bangalore, I'm Calcutta. You can put them in order of your preference order, where you want to apply first. And then I researched a bit about like what are the different years of work experience you need to have before applying to these colleges. So for example, IIM Ahmedabad takes 4 years, ISB 2 years. Similarly, different colleges have different years of requirement. IIM Kozhikode takes 3 years. I'm not sure about Indore, Acceleri, and SPGen and Bitsom. So this is
SPJAN is
so
also
I just
three, SPJAN is also 3 years, just to for the other people in the group, and Excella is 5 years again, and Bitsom accepts freshers also.
okay. Okay. Yeah. So just before applying, you can see if you're trying to apply in the next colleges, you can check which all colleges you would be applicable to, and you can just have a look at the median GMAT GRE score. Again, just to give you an idea, this is not anyway. Let's say if you get, let's say, 20 marks below your average or median GMAT score, this doesn't mean that you should not apply to that particular college. This is just to give you an idea. In case you have not started preparing for your GMAT, it will give you a kind of a target score that you can basically try to achieve. Like so, basically, this initially the workx and the approximate GRE or GMAT you are targeting to. This will give you an idea while you are applying to all these colleges. Once that was done, what I started doing was, yeah, I started noting down the different deadlines for different rounds and when are the interviews for all these different colleges. So starting from the priority order wise, you can have a look at it. So for example, IIM Kozhikode starts the R1 process very early, it's very ahead of all the other colleges. So I think you need to take a call because if you are giving IIM Kozhikode very early and I think it would depend on your GMAT score. Let's say if you have a 650 or 650, 660 GMAT score, I think it's better to apply in earlier rounds. And if you have, let's say, a very good score, 730, 740, you would want to give us, you can wait till the later rounds because you don't want to like lose your let's say commitment fees. just a point. I think Anshul can add his point of view over here. Uh, so so I just started mentioning the different like application deadlines and what are the interview dates. Interview dates are also important because what happens is I'm Bangalore and I'm Calcutta. Their interview dates always clash. So I applied for IIM Bangalore and IIM Calcutta in separate rounds because when I was giving interview for IIM Calcutta, there were a lot of folks who just like gave the interview of IIM Calcutta and they had to rush to another place to give the interview of IIM Bangalore. So that would cause a lot of trouble for a lot of folks. Right. So plan your applications very properly. So once you have mentioned the different deadlines, then you can plan that, okay, I want to apply for all these colleges and I need a GMAT score at least, let's say 15 to 20 days before the first deadline. Let's say. So basically 15 days before before you start filling the form, you should have your GMAT score in hand. And assuming that you have 3 or 3.5 months to prepare for GMAT before you give your exam, you can basically kind of do reverse calculation by when you need to have your when you need to start preparing for your GMAT. So let's say the first I would say 4 months before the first deadline, you can start preparing for your GMAT, and at least 15 days before the first deadline, have your GMAT score in your hand. So this was about how I like kind of planned all these how to have my when to have my GMAT score in hand, and when do I plan to when do I start to plan for different applications. So I hope everything is clear till now.
That was really, really insightful, Sayed, and I'm so glad that you did it in such a planned way, in a very institutionalized way. One more thing I wanted to highlight to other people, which I noticed in your sheet, that you had also mentioned what kind of preparation is required for that particular school. And I think you did your own research to arrive to those, like you have done, like very clearly you have mentioned that it is profile based and general awareness is important for IIM Ahmedabad, and they will grill you, right? 50 to 75% of the interviews at IIM Ahmedabad are grilling. Some people got very chilled interviews. I think your interview is also not very grilling, right, Sayed?
It was very thrilling for me.
Oh, it was grilling for you. Okay. Oh, sorry. Sindhura's interview was pretty chilled. And Priyanshi's interview was also chilled. At least that's what they told me. Okay. So this is very, very amazing. And guys, you can have you can do the same. It will really help you to plan out, and it will really help you to ensure that you do not miss out on anything. Great. Now, Sayed, how did you prepare for interviews? I mean, I know how did you, but what was going in the like at the background, like after
Yeah.
taking mocks, what exactly you were doing with the feedback?
Yeah. So initially, I think since I was researching a lot, I think I was getting a lot of information. So it was a problem of information overload. So I knew that I had to like reach out to someone for help to give it give my preparation more direction. So then again, I started searching out for different institute, and like through one of the WhatsApp groups, I went to like Anshul's group, and so again I had a clarity about what kind of questions were being asked, but I wanted to put a more structured process into it. So that's why I reached out to Anshul, and then basically we I started preparing for like my interviews, and Anshul provides like a very detailed list of questions, frequently asked questions during these interviews, and basically I started preparing for it. So basically, what do you need to do, in my opinion, is go through your professional journey, right? Think through, because you will have a lot of questions that will make you think more about what you have done in your professional or in your academics year, right? So basically, if when you're introducing yourself, you need to basically think through the whole journey, because you know what you have done, but you need to put a proper structure to that answers, right? So I think the way I started preparing for it, so I took all those questions from Anshul, and I started thinking about my stories, like about the work that I have done, and I tried to make proper answers for all those frequently asked questions, and that's how I approached it. So I think there were more than 50, 60 questions, but there are some questions which are already asked, like introduce yourself, and very basic questions that check your fit for that particular program. So I kind of prepared those questions very well, in terms of like introduce yourself, or why do you want to do an MBA, and so all the questions that would convince the interviewer that you really want to do an MBA, and not just and that you have a clarity of thought. So yeah, that is very important for me. And all these examinations, that thing is very important.
Thanks, Sayed. So I have only these questions. I mean, these are the things I wanted to know from you for the benefit of everyone else in the group. So now I will open the session for questions. You guys can unmute and you can ask anything you want to.
Hi, Anshul, Kaushal here. Hi, Syed. I have a question, if no one else have any. My primary question is, how did you choose between IMA and ISB? What other parameters that you considered to choose IMA over ISB, since you had options from both? If you can elaborate on those, that would be great.
I can take those questions, but Anshul, should we take those questions now, or because it is more about like how the session is more about how to manage.
No,
Uh,
I'm sorry. What exactly Kaushal asked? Can you repeat?
Yeah, my question was, since Syed got through all these great programs, what made him choose IMA over like the rest of it? So yeah,
Say maybe this can be taken offline, Kaushal, because while one finally chooses a college, there are a lot of personal reasons
okay,
also, not only
sure,
professional reasons.
right,
So Syed has been very frank on why he chose
okay,
IME over ISP, and I had been in constant touch with him regarding his decision, and I told him and Sindhura both that these are good problems to have, right? Because
okay,
both had been asking me, "Ki, Anshul, which one to choose." So
right,
you can take this offline. I'm sure he will share it with you.
sure, sure, okay,
so we can keep the questions more related to the
Yeah,
application process, and
application or anything related to interview as well. Anything. Just to let you know, he got through ISB, IIM Calcutta, IIM Ahmedabad, IIM Code.
yes,
That's it, right?
yeah.
Or XLI also.
In Excel, I did not.
Okay. Guys, please ask questions because within 1 month he will start his MBA. Then you will not be able to ask any question to anyone for at least next 6, 7 months. Once you are placed, then you will get some time again to do these kind of activities.
So I can ask folks. So most of the guys present over here do you already have a GMAT, or are you guys planning to have a GMAT score in, like, let's say 3, 4 months?
Most of them do not have a GMAT. There are a few guys who are reapplicant, so they will have the GMAT and they will just apply. But most of them they do not have. So Nishant is mentioning that have GMAT will reapply. So yeah, like for example, Nishant is must be a reapplicant. It was your first time, Sayed, right?
Uh, so I got a 710 GMAT. I retried it and gave a 7. I got 720. Yeah.
Okay. Guys, feel free to ask questions because if I start, then I will not stop. I have so many things to talk about, but ideally this should be about you. Ideally, you should be the one asking questions so that you get full clarity. You can ask about round 1 versus round 2, preparation timeline, how much time is required in which application, how exactly IMA and ISB are different. This is very important for you to understand. IMA and ISB application as well as interview are completely different, and you need to prepare for both of them in silos, right? So please ask these kind of questions. I'm giving you hint for your own benefit. Otherwise, I will start.
I had a question.
Yeah, Lakshan.
Yeah. Hi, Syed. You said you went through the videos of students who on YouTube who got in for the college in ISB. Can you say some YouTube channels for the same?
Uh,
Which YouTube channels you refer to?
I mean, I just searched that, like, you can just search, there are a lot of videos where people are telling their stories. You can mention how I made to ISB. There are a lot of videos I think a lot of folks have shared, or you can just search, like, um, uh, just type in relevant keywords. How I converted IIM A PGPX, and so you'll get a lot of videos. So no particular channel as such, but you can just search the keywords and it will really pop up. So,
Sure. Thanks.
Okay. Astha is asking, if I start my preparation for GMAT now, when should I give the exam? And is there any coaching needed or self-study? Astha, this is a very, I mean, this completely depends on your abilities. I know people who have cracked the exam in 3 months, and I also know people who are still there after 2 years and not able to get the score that they want to. Coaching needed or self-study is again depending, it depends on you.
personally, I needed a coaching, especially for verbal section. So I took it, and uh, my just it is my opinion that you should not extend your GMAT preparation like beyond 5 months. Beyond 5 months, I also think it's stretching it. But uh, I think once you start preparing for GMAT and you have got a score, I think practicing more, like going through the theory would not improve your GMAT score. It's more about like analyzing what mistakes you are making and how could you manage your time with. So this is my only input, and that I don't think one should prepare for like more than a year. Year is also stretching a lot. I think one should not prepare it for more than 5 months, and 5 months also I think it's a bit of a stretch. But this is my personal opinion.
Yes, I long ago when I was preparing, even there was some research done on what is the optimum time of preparation for GMAT, and that research also, it was like a proper research done. Uh, uh, I will try to find that article, and that research also said that 4 to 5 months is the optimum. Guys, instead of chat, you can just unmute yourself and ask. I think if anyone can unmute themselves. It would be really, that would make the session more, beneficial for everyone. So, how did you manage your office work in B school application? I'm currently preparing for GMAT, even though pushing myself to be consistent, workload takes over, and 4 to 5 days of gap disrupts my routine. Yeah, it's a valid question. So, Sayed, what do you have to say about it?
I think for this you need to like build a proper plan. Focus like if you want to focus on theory, keep the theory part more on the weekends because it requires a lot of concentration. So on Saturday and Sunday you could maybe focus more on the theoretical aspect of the preparation. And on weekdays, if you have very limited time, maybe you could, because practice is most important part of GMAT, and consistency. These two are like practicing the questions in time limit. So this is also one issue, especially for, because I initially started preparing with eGMAT. So in their practice problems, they do not have a time limit. So I was able to practice and I was able to solve a lot of questions. But when I tried my first mock, especially in the verbal section, you get less than 2 minutes per question. Like, so you need to always keep time limit in mind. So for the what you can do is during the weekends you can focus more on the theory, and during the weekdays just so that you're not out of the touch. Like give 1 hour mock of, let's say, verbal one day, 1 hour you can keep off, let's say, 1 hour of verbal and 1 hour of quant. You can do it like that, and we can focus more on theory. So yeah, this. And for me, I did it in a pretty similar manner. I was consistent. For 3 months, there was never a single day when I did not do, maybe 1 or 2 days here and there, but where I did not study. But I was not studying for a lot, but I was being very consistent with what I was doing, especially during the weekdays. Study for 1 hour, but make that be consistent and practice a lot of questions and practice it in time limits during the weekdays.
Right.
And for weekends, you need to stretch a bit with your theory and everything.
Right. So Kari is asking about gap in education and how relatable is my profile to crack ISB and IIM. So Kari, I just mentioned in the last call that Himanshu is going to IIM Bangalore with 3 years of work ex gap. And some Namrata is going to ISB when she is not working. So work ex gap is not a problem at all. All you need to, then Anushila is going to ISB with 1 year gap. That too with a 320 in GMAT, in GRE, which is really low. So it's not at all problematic. I mean, you can go to any school you want to, but of course you need to explain what were you doing those during those 4 years, and you need to kind of prepare for that question pretty well. That's it. There is nothing wrong with your profile. If you're working in Indian Railways, nothing wrong with your profile with respect to ISB or even for IIMs. What ideal profile needed for ISB? Astha, there is no ideal profile. And if someone is telling you that there is an ideal profile, please do not listen to that person. If the interview for ISB is a prior startup experience favored over corporate experience, Nishant, no. And the other way is also not true. There is no such thing that this kind of experience is preferred over this kind of experience. Absolutely not. If yes, particular which skill set or projects help you in selling yourself. What will help you in selling yourself is whatever you have done so far in your career. Syed, if you want to add on that.
Yeah. So again, for ISB specifically, I think it's in my experience, it was a very exploratory interview, and they focus a lot on what I have done, but they went in depth. It was 30-35 minutes of interview, and so they asked me about what I have done, and they went in quite in depth with respect to my work, and also with respect to industries, like about, since I was working in social media, they asked me about the industry as well. So you need to have very good very good grasp of what you have done till now, your industry, and so you need to be very good with that, and you need to also tell them how ISB MBA at ISB would actually help your journey. You have a particular journey, you have particular type of skill sets. So will ISB, doing an MBA from ISB, will it like help you like accelerate your career growth? So you could have you could be from any profile, but you should be able to tell them this was your work experience, and these are the things ISB has to offer. And if I do MBA from ISB, how it will basically eventually help me in the long run and in the short run as well. So yeah, it's not about the skills, but how MBA would complement those skills and accelerate your career growth. So you need to convince first yourself and then the interviewer that how ISB would help, and how you are an addition to ISB as well, the other way around as well. If you get selected, what will you add to ISB and the cohort over there? So no particular skill is favored over the other, but these 2 pointers would be like you would be really, I guess most of the people are asked on these 2 points.
Great. Thanks, Syed. I think, yeah, I mean, I don't think I need to add anything to that. That you were pretty much on point. Okay, guys. Yeah, Shrey.
Hi, Anshul. This is John speaking.
Yeah, John. Tell me.
Yeah, hi. Hi, Syed. Just one small thing. So I am preparing for my GMAT at the moment. My question is about the general awareness which is required for the interviews. So if I talk about myself, I'm not the person who generally watches a lot of news channels or gets updated through newspapers about the current events and everything. So I just want to understand the intensity of general awareness expected. How do you rate it actually? It is like too much in-depth and accurate knowledge is being expected of the general events or something.
Yeah, so this is the reason I've put it as general awareness and not general knowledge. So let's say CA is you have to look at the macro level events. So let's say CA is currently passed, right? So they would want to know, they would not go very much in depth, but they would ask you about, since it's a very big news, they would expect you to know about what the at least at the surface level, what the law is all about, and they could ask your opinion about it. So a surface level understanding of macro events. Okay, so let's say World Cup is going on. So maybe if you have mentioned your hobbies as sports, you're interested in sports. So macro level events and having a surface level understanding of them and your opinion on them. So these two things they could ask you. So you have to make sure that even if you're taking sides on particular, you need to come out as very professional while like giving your opinion on like some of the very politically charged topics. So yeah, so opinions and surface level understanding. So that's why I've not put it as general knowledge. They won't ask you about very in-depth who's I mean, they would not ask you very much in detail about very nuanced opinion, or it's not a general knowledge. It's basically general
Understood.
awareness. Yeah.
So it will be towards a debatable perspective, right?
It could be for IIM Ahmedabad. They have an extempore round. So in that, it is like that. But in, let's say, Calcutta or Kozhikode, it's not fixed that you will have that round, but you could definitely get some questions around general awareness. Like, so let's say there was a women's participation bill in parliament. So that was being passed. So you need to have a surface level understanding of what that particular bill is. And then they could ask you that, is it good or not? They could ask you about reservations. Is it are you pro reservations or not? And if not, they would also cross question you and try to challenge your point of view. So these are the scope of things you could do. And if you are not reading newspapers or uh, uh, any of the, you're not following any of the news sources, I think you could basically Google a lot of recent stuff, or you could follow YouTube channels which will give you a surface level understanding. And on GMAT Club as well, you can GMAT forum. There are a lot of you can also search it on, I think it's GMAT Club or GMAT forum. All the topics related to all the topics related to extempore, especially in case of IIM Ahmedabad. I went through almost 65 topics which were uh, high impact events, and I just went and just read and had a surface level understanding of all those events. Yeah.
We're collecting all those topics and sharing it in the group also. Whoever was going for the interview, we were asking that, okay, what were the topics of that day? And collectively, we were sharing in the group during round one of IIM Ahmedabad.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to say that that extempo part, I didn't prepare anyone. Neither Syed nor Priyanshi nor who else, Sindura, and who was the fourth person who got into IIM Ahmedabad through me? I forgot. None of them. I just said that is your responsibility. I will take care of the because I cannot really train anyone in extempore. It is to, I mean, no one can train you. You just need to know the topics, and you should just be able to drive the conversation that day and somehow convince them about your point of view. So almost everyone did the extempore preparation on their own. But that was a great question, John. I mean, uh, this is one big difference between ISB and IIM's interview. ISB really does not care about your general awareness can be zero. ISB doesn't really care about it. Even when I applied and when I appeared for ISB interview, I didn't even know who was the prime minister. I'm sure I knew the prime minister, but at least I didn't even know the chief minister of my state. I have had absolutely no clue about anything, and they don't care. But uh, ISB does. I also want to know about IIM Calcutta. Said many people say that they ask puzzles, maths questions in the interview. What is the reality?
Uh, so for me, what I've also heard this that IIM Calcutta was all like ask you a lot of puzzles and maths related problems, especially if you have an engineering background. Personally, I did not get asked about that. But one thing that was common in all the three IIMs, except Bangalore, in IIM Ahmedabad, IIM Calcutta, and IIM Kozhikode. If you, they would grill you on some of the things that you have mentioned in your profile. So, for example, IIM Calcutta, because I mentioned about like I want to like do entrepreneurship. They really grilled me for about 20-25 minutes on that. They did not ask any puzzle, but they मतलब अच्छे से grill किया था उस पे. And IIM Ahmedabad में I mentioned that I'm interested in history. तो उस पे it went for 20 minutes, and वहाँ पे. And similarly, at IIM Kozhikode also they took a lot of grilling was done on entrepreneurship. So even you could also hobbies maybe they can grill at IIM. So they would find some kind of if they feel ki you are trying to stand out in your profile some point, so they can pick that and they can grill you on that. Puzzles, personally, I was not being asked, but there were 2-3 other folks who were there. We have in my slot who were asked about puzzles, and yeah, so they were being especially if you're from engineering background, they could ask you about puzzles or maths related problems, probability related problems. So yeah, IIM Calcutta does ask uh, problem, but not from everyone. But if you're from engineering background, it's better you be prepared for some of those puzzles. And yeah.
Hi Sayed, I didn't do the same. Do we need did you prepare for case studies and like guesstimates and all for all these interviews?
No, I personally did not.
Because like for SPGen, I have heard like in like they're having group interviews, right? And they usually take up case studies and all. So that is why.
I don't know much about SPGen, but A, B, C, K, and ISB, no, I did not prepare. It's IIM Bangalore and ISB are more about your what you have done in your work experience. They'll go really in depth and your industry. And IIM Ahmedabad, Calcutta, and Kozhikode. They would go in your work as well, but they would look a bit of general awareness, and they also check how do you perform under pressure. So this is kind of, you could say, a difference between ISB in Bangalore versus IIM Ahmedabad, Calcutta, and Kozhikode. But no, I've never prepared for guesstimate or any case study. I'm not sure about SPGen.
Anshul, you have any idea about that?
See,
If
guesstimates and case studies are asked if you write consulting as your post MBA goals. If you don't, then they will generally not ask. There was one so far in my experience. This year there was one girl who wrote consulting, and she was given a case study to solve. But at least the people who work with me, I do not allow them to write consulting until unless they are coming from a consulting background. I do not allow them to write post MBA goal as consulting, because that opens this entire case study and guesstimate Pandora box during the interview, which we don't want to. Once you enter ISB or any B school, do whatever you want to. Why to create problems beforehand? That is my logic.
Yeah, just adding on to that, I mentioned entrepreneurship in IIM Calcutta, so they kind of brought up a case related, a case study of like why uh, Ola Ola is learning in loss. So they just threw that case on me, and they were like they solve it from scratch.
Entrepreneurship
So
is also something I strongly advise that please stay away unless you are really sure that
Hmm.
if you cannot just mildly and casually say, hey, I want to start something of my own. The moment you say something like that or write something like that in the application, you are opening there's a high possibility that they will ask questions around it. And then if you're not prepared, then that's it. It's bad news for you.
Yeah, you don't want to like go into a very open-ended question, because I will also like suggest not to write entrepreneurship specifically, and I don't know about consultancy, but my personal suggestion would be don't mention entrepreneurship or anything like anyway they will find anything to grill you on, but at least on because entrepreneurship makes the things very open-ended. They could ask you anything, and then you could get stuck somewhere.
Two things I want to add here, guys. One, it actually depends on the panel as well. Many people do write consulting, but they never get asked anything related to case study or guesstimate. This year, two or three people wrote consulting with me, and I allowed only after a lot of discussion and brainstorming. Out of those two or three people, two had a consulting background, and they really wanted to continue with consulting in a different way. So they wrote. They were not asked any guesstimates or case study. Last year, a product manager was given a case study to solve. It was a very product oriented case study, but she was given and then she faltered and she had a 680 also, so she couldn't convert ultimately. And to your surprise, one guy who had just written strategy role in real estate industry as his post MBA goal, he was asked a case study on Instagram. Now he was taken aback, and this is all ISB, by the way. He was taken aback. He rechecked that why am I being asked this? Is there any confusion? I am from real estate industry, and in the future also I want to remain with this industry, but in a strategy role. So they said, no, you had written strategy, so we were just checking your problem solving skills. Thankfully, he got in because first of all, he was very smart. He worked really, really hard as well, and uh, he also had a 730, which eventually helped, but he was able to manage that case study pretty well as well. He was smart enough to do that. And he's currently at ISB and he got what he wanted. He got a strategy role in Godrej Real Estate. So just giving you examples of how where things can go wrong here and there, even after you prepare very well, there will be certain degree of randomness in the interview, but you have to prepare in a way. Of course, you have to prepare for all the expected question, but you also have to prepare in a way that if something very unexpected comes up, you should still be able to manage it somehow.
And I think that was the best value addition I had from interview with Anshul, and because he puts you in those uncomfortable positions, like which you would definitely get. So, like you could put a very safe profile, but they would pick something or other, and there would be point in your interviews where you would be under stress or you would be under some uncomfortable position, but you need to navigate through it. Like, and yeah, so. And I think Anshul does that really well with yeah.
One thing I wanted to add again, because I said two things, I only ended up telling you one thing. Second thing is this is a difference, stark difference between ISV versus IIMs. IIMs generally try to find out something to stress you, something in your application, something which you have said in the interview. They will try to stress you and see how you respond to that stressful question. ISB is completely opposite. ISB does not want to know about your weakness. They want to know more about your strength, more and more about what you have done. Sayed, if you can add on that, or if you want to comment on that.
Yeah. So ISB interview, they give you a lot of time to speak. It's more of an exploratory interview. They want to know what have you done, what are your strengths, what mainly your strengths, and they might ask you about weakness as well, but they would not go in. But majorly they let you speak a lot. They let you set the direction of the interview, and then they go more and more about what you have done till now, and they exactly want to know why you want to come to ISB. Think it of like that. So they want to explore that part more, and basically, yeah. So it's not more of a stress interview. It's more of an exploration about what you have done till now. And this is, I think, IIM Bangalore was pretty much similar, but IIM Bangalore keeps it way more restricted to the work that you have done. It's more professional. They go in depth about your work as well, your industry, and so yeah. So I would say IIM Bangalore and ISB are pretty much similar than rest of the IIMs if you compare.
Yes, even I got a similar feedback, and even I got to learn the same way. One thing I also realized about IIM Bangalore, that they really do not give you any clue. They just ask question, you answer them, and then you're not able to understand. Are you able to impress them? Are you in the right direction? Is the interview going positive or negative? You do not get to know anything. Is it true, Sayed?
Yeah, they kind of do that, and matlab, वो थोड़ा they also go very tangent. Like if they could ask, let's say you have mentioned you work in XYZ industry, they give in the same industry they could ask a very different question that is not directly related to you, that might be related to the industry. So they could ask some hypothetical questions as well. So yeah, it's in that way, but they keep it more related to your professional experience in industry only.
Okay.
And additionally, IIM Bangalore has written ability test as well. So they give you a topic, and you have 10 minutes to think about it, and 20 minutes to write about it. So that is also one additional component of IIM Bangalore.
I mean, I cannot stress how important this discussion has been so far. I mean, if we add the call with Mayank and then this call, I think you will have everything that you would want to know to navigate both ISB and IIM applications. And more important than that, to realize that these two applications are very different. I mean, you cannot club ISP and other IIM application together. IIM Ahmedabad and ISP must be prepared in silos, and then other IIMs will follow. Then it is not very difficult. But these two are very, very different. Okay, Nishant has asked a good question. During the ISB interview, should we try to talk about pre-planned practice topics, peer experience, or in the middle of the interview, should we shift to those specific topics which resonate more with the background of the panelist? Syed, what comments do you have on this?
Yeah. So, I think you should have some kind of introduction prepared for it, but at the same time, it should not be it should not feel robotic in nature. I think if you are comfortable about what you have done and you're comfortable with your work experience, give an introduction about it, and I think they would ask you some questions, and the flow would you cannot control the flow of the interview, right? So I would not say that just try to be very like too over prepared, or prepare everything, every answer, because the interview would go at some point would go in uncharted territory as well, right? So in that way, I think you should keep it as natural as possible, but do prepare an initial introduction, and be clear with what you have done. So in ISB interview, you have like 5 points for I think what are the things you have done, and what are the I think Anshul can maybe remind me better. I think there are 5 points for every work experience. There are 5 points of what I think of
I'll tell
what you
you.
have
So
done,
for
and
every
what are
job,
the
yeah. For every job that you have done, you have to write 5 points about your responsibilities, that is job responsibilities, and 5 achievements at job.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I would say that you should be very clear in your mind with these 10 points and prepare a basic intro, be clear with these 10 points, and rest the interview will take care of itself, is what I would say.
But that was a great question, Nishant. And I'm glad that you are deep diving into these from now on only, because trust me, it will pay dividends. Okay, there is another question. I was a fresher straight out of college and the panelists were tech and finance, so the interview was going blank. Yeah, Nishant, we will talk. Don't worry. I'll tell you what to do. I tried to resonate and it. Can you unmute yourself and talk?
Sure. Anshul, as just now you mentioned that there are specific points in the ISP interview about the things you have done at work and the responsibilities and the roles you have played.
Not interview.
So something
Application.
sim
Not interview, application.
Okay, so in the application they were the point. So something similar happened to me. The panelist was one of them was a banker and the other one was a tech guy. So I had nothing specific to give to them other than my uh, the clinical experience that I have done. So the interview was taking a different direction. So I tried to talk, actually not talk. I tried to fabricate uh, something related to finance. I organized the event and handle the finances, and that's where things took it all.
But you
And
already got in, Nishant, right?
no, Anshul, I think you are mistaken. I didn't receive an admit.
Oh, okay. I think there is some confusion there. No problem, Nishant.
Which
Uh,
college are we talking
we're
about?
talking about ISB.
Oh,
What ISP?
but you have mentioned you're a fresher, so is it for YLP?
No, early entry option.
Early entry option.
Oh,
Fresher, as in he's just started
right.
working. So, for example, when I applied and when I was giving my interview for ISP, I was also an early entry option applicant, and I was only 6 months into the job. So that's what he meant by fresher. Okay, Nishan, no problem. We'll talk. Don't worry about it. Uh, you have done your job well with respect to GMAT and everything.
Sure.
Don't worry. Early entry may reject hona is not a problem at all. Don't worry. You will get in. Okay. Okay.
Sure. Thank you. Thank
No problem. Anything else, guys, before or we can close this call? But there's no hurry. If you have any query, please feel free to ask and get it resolved. Okay, I don't think there are any more questions, so we will end the call and say thanks a lot. This is exactly what I was trying to do with this call with you, ISB versus IIM, because this is very important for people to understand. And again, congratulations once more. Keep sharing your experiences at IIM Ahmedabad. I got to know a lot about IIM Ahmedabad from Himanshu. And this year, I am looking forward to know more about that college from you, Priyanshi, Mayank, because these three people out of four are going to IIM Ahmedabad. Sindhura has decided to go to ISP. So great. And I would be looking forward to see more pictures from the campus, from your international exchange, wherever you decide to go. And that's it. Thank you.
Yeah, just one more thing. I would say that for all the whether you're preparing for interview or your extemporaries, try to or even your GMAT, try to simulate the real environment. For GMAT, as I said, if you're preparing, if you don't have a GMAT score, and if you're preparing for it, do always attempt the question in the like the time limit, and or like always try to simulate that. And I think with Anshul's interview, I think that is something that really helped me, that he kind of simulates the real interview environment, and whether be it an exploratory interview or a stress interview. So he's really good with that, and that really helped me. And even if you're preparing for, let's say, extempore at IIM Ahmedabad, uh, try to find a friend or any colleague of yours with whom you can practice. And personally, I did it with my friend, and I just simulated the real environment, and picking up the chits and thinking 1 minute about the interview. If you can, try to simulate real environment as much as possible. So that day, sometimes you can get overwhelmed at like if you're going to, let's say, campus like ISB or IIM Bangalore, you can get overwhelmed within the atmosphere. So this would kind of help you with that.
So you visited the campus before the application or something like that? Any campus?
No. I did not visit it, but the rest of the interview, that was something I really simulated.
Okay. Great, Syed. Thanks a lot for your time. And as I said, keep in touch. And I would be looking forward to know more about your experience and whatever you do in the next 1 year. Thank you.